Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we're back, baby.
Yeah, we are.
We are talking about another great episode of the Green Ring Conspiracy. This one's part 8.
Yeah, emphasis on the great one. Honestly, this is part of the, it surprised me how much I like it.
Oh, it's good. It's got bits. The plot's moving in the right way. There's some good... Yeah, I don't know. It's
the
a
sound
good...
engineering's great. We'll get into it.
Oh,
I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Off the top, cast-wise for the episode, we have Shannon Holmes as Martin.
Okay.
Who's one of the police officers. Mm-hmm. Shannon Holmes has only appeared as Martin in this and the next 4 episodes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He moves, presumably. The police officer takes another job. Maybe in Odenton, we could get a spinoff.
Who knows?
Fanfiction ideas for you.
Shannon Holmes has been in a handful of things. He was in the Southland Tales, which is a movie of note, in my opinion.
I haven't seen it.
So it's the dude who directed... Oh, why am I forgetting his name? But the dude who directed Donnie Darko. This is his follow-up. It stars The Rock.
Oh! Interesting.
Watch it if you get the chance.
Is it on any major streaming platforms that you know of?
Don't know.
Plug for Just Watch, the app.
That's true. There will be a link in the description of wherever it's streaming.
Yep.
He was also on a show called Just Shut Up, playing a character called Mr. Squirrel, which he did for 20 episodes.
Wow.
And a show called Here's the Thing, where he played the character Josh for 14 episodes.
Here's the thing. That doesn't say what network it's on, does it?
No. Can I find out? Maybe.
For some reason.
The answer is still no.
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's not important. We also have Townsend Coleman.
Yes, as the Stiletto.
Yeah.
And Jason Whittaker. Let me just say off the top, boy, was I so happy when they reveal that in the same episode they introduce it.
Yeah.
Because I was just like gearing up to have a frustrating discussion this episode where we have to do a Mitch is alive bit. Mm-hmm. And I was just not looking forward to that, where I was like, I don't want to be like, and Townsend Coleman as the Stiletto. Townsend Coleman also famously voices Jason. Weird that he's voicing the Stiletto here. I guess that was just like a fun casting choice, and he doesn't sound any... Yeah, I'm so glad I can just be like, yeah, the Stiletto's Jason.
It's great. I love living in the future. It's wonderful.
Well,
Stuff moves faster.
But they say it in the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great, so I don't have to play this game.
Yeah.
We can just be like, boom, Stiletto, Jason Whittaker.
The beard is gonna need a razor.
Mm-hmm.
Probably is a nice beard. I bet you can grow a nice.
I mean, if the official photos are any given, I mean, he's always got some facial hair. Well, not always, but of recent he's added some facial hair. So turn that into a beard. And we can get into that more when we get to it, but it's quite the disguise of a hat, sunglasses, and a beard.
For being a mobster.
Yeah, it's one of those things, whatever, I guess we're doing it here. It's one of those things where it's like you either should go all or nothing. Like, I feel like wearing sunglasses and a hat is just inherently suspicious.
Yes.
He should either just be like, he's got a beard, they don't recognize him, or he's got some crazy elaborate mask, or nobody ever sees him.
He shaved his head and he only wears sunglasses.
Right, and he's got a big tattoo. There's stuff. No, but you just said sunglasses though, and that's the problem. It's like
no hat. I'm talking beard, shaved head, sunglasses. Would be unrecognizable. Right. Sure. I mean, I could shave my head and wear sunglasses and people wouldn't recognize me.
I like the gimmick in the episode, but I'm also like, you should have a better disguise or no disguise. Either people are going to recognize Jason Whittaker or they ain't, as this episode proves.
Yeah. And especially giving it the note of I worked so hard on it. How'd you see it? It's he's his kid. Come on now. Of course.
Right. Well, and also you went hat, glasses, beard.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be like you could like walk past someone on the street who you hadn't seen in, I don't know, whatever this is, 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And they've grown a beard and they're wearing a hat and baseball cap because it's summer. And you'd be like, oh yeah, hey Andrew, how's it going?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you can't have all of them. It's the, what is it? The Marvel, like, the Marvel plague of disguises where they wear, like, the khaki jacket and the aviators and the baseball cap.
oh, I mean, I guess they do that.
A lot.
Fair.
A good bit. It's a go-to Steve Rogers.
I was going to say, that seems very Steve Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not a, sleeveless vest, so Hawkeye can't wear it, so. His arms are actually too big, scientifically, to fit into sleeves.
Andrew knows he has the same condition.
Yeah, it's true. That's why there's no video part of this podcast. You just wouldn't be able to see me. They're like wings.
All right.
Okay. Anywho, is there a promo, Dylan?
You know what, Andrew? Just for you, there is.
Yay!
On the next adventure in Odyssey,
I've finally got a bead on what may be the signal from that implant in Monty's arm.
Whit is one step closer to finding his missing grandson.
He may be in a rundown building on Newcastle Road.
But Whit's not the only one on Monty's trail.
I know you don't trust me.
Forget about trusting you. I want to know where my grandson is.
Don't miss the next adventure in Odyssey.
Two things from that promo that are later notes in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
One, fine promo, whatever. Two, they mention a road in that promo.
Yeah.
There are 3 name drops of specific
roads.
road names in this episode.
Yep.
I don't understand.
And they're all bad, kind of.
I don't get well, there are no good road names in real life.
Yeah.
There are even less in fiction.
Interesting.
Because every road name sounds like BS. Like there no road names sound real except for the cliche ones which you have to avoid when you are writing fiction. So you just run out of road names.
So you can't.
Just
why can't you use like
you don't want to okay,
Broad Street doesn't matter essentially. You can't visualize that.
right. So you could right, the mains of like front, broad,
New,
and then like numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They all paint too specific a picture, where you're then picturing something downtown, something a little bit more metropolitan in some instances. Like, what you need is like, in these sorts of instances, like, you're specifically naming like roads that are off the beaten path.
I was just on a Green Branch Road today, and that is a very Odyssey name for a road.
Right. But like there are no road names either sound too real, and you can immediately go, okay, well that means XYZ, which they don't want to do because they need to keep them vague. Or they just sound like someone made them up because that's what they did.
That's what all roads are.
So, like, it does create this weird thing where it's like, they all sound fake, but also, if you ever are talking to someone who, like, lives across country and they're talking about their road names, they also sound fake.
Yes,
Like,
of course.
so it is just this problem.
Yeah.
I live
chamber.
Right. Like, I live in a city where, like, the streets are named after freaking, like, nuts and citrus.
Yeah.
Like that, or not even just citrus, because there's like raspberry and mulberry, just like fruit.
Yeah.
Fruit and nuts. That's how, and then royalty.
Yep. Yeah.
That's how we name the streets.
Yeah, royalty goes north and south, and
but
citrus
not
and
always.
nuts. Yeah, there are exceptions.
There's a couple exceptions just to confuse it.
Well,
and some of them have like a 45-degree turn in there just to throw you off. It's fun stuff.
City planning. I can't believe it's somebody's job. Yeah. For how bad it turns out. I mean,
but nobody's like planning a city from day one in most circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Civil engineers and such. They're trying their best. They're just like the rest of us.
Right, but cities just evolve and you can't control that.
Or can you? I believe that there's something beautiful in all of us.
Call forward?
Yes.
So
I just realized we haven't started covering the episode, have we?
no, I've just been ranting about the road name thing.
Yes.
And then the other thing that promo just pointed out that I also wanted to knock, or just, I don't know, mention off the top. And I don't know what it is, but Diane Shu, who plays Agent Tanner, I love her performance so much. And I don't know why, but I just think it's great. Anytime she shows up, I'm just like, I love the way you're playing this. This is so good.
Yeah, she does do a good job now that I think about it, because she plays both sides very well.
There's just something about her voice. I truly don't know what it is, but she's not in that many episodes, and every time she is, I'm just like,
She's got a great vocal performance.
That's such a good performance.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt that she sounds hot. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that was.
Maybe that.
She
maybe
kind of
that's the
sounds
thing.
like a redhead, which personally I'm a fan of. So
Okay.
if we can confirm that Agent Tanner is a redhead, my theory has some merit.
It is also weird just thinking like, oh yes, that's right. There's also like 2 or 3 episodes where she voices Doris Rathbone, and I'm just like,
What? Oh, in album 50 she does?
yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so I'm just like, I want to go back and listen to this and be like, do I like you here too? Or is there just something specific about the Lauren Tanner?
Aren't they redheads? Aren't the Rathbones redheads? Rodney is at least.
Probably.
Bart isn't. Bart has brown hair.
I believe Doris has blonde, but it might also be dyed.
That's fair. Rodney has red hair. And well, I suppose that could also be dyed, but I doubt it.
Anyway. The actual episode begins with Whit being relieved that Connie is not around.
Yep. Because we can't talk to Connie about anything.
Because that's how we've got to go into this episode. Just be like, hey, Eugene.
Is Connie here?
Your
No.
peer gone? All right, great. Let me confide all my secrets in you.
Yeah, who's so capable of dealing with it.
Granted, like, that this was something I thought about, but like the Eugene scene here, and it's probably just because it's like a sitcom trope. You put literally any Odyssey character into that position, and it goes exactly the same way.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Is
Like,
that
it's like-
just a McCuskerism?
Well, I don't know, but
Well,
like
it's a TV trope,
right?
for
It
sure,
is a
yeah.
TV trope. Like I'm like you have Connie do that, boom, exact same thing. Wooten, absolutely,
Wooten
if not
would
worse.
be-
Bernard, like
yeah. Oh yeah,
note for note,
yeah.
like it's
Although Eugene adds his own flair, I will say,
For sure.
in the in his interjections and everything,
yeah.
and the noises he makes are hilarious. But
yes. The escalation of that all was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Whit's speeding off because he got a faint signal from Monty's arm.
classic.
And yeah, you know,
Wakanda situation here.
and then he decides to entrust his more senior employee to get the DNA of an employee who just started today and is a minor.
Yes, of course, makes a lot of sense.
You know, as you do.
Yeah. And of course, Eugene's like, yeah, of course, I'll take care of it. You know, I'll be my normal, nonchalant self, and obviously that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but also it bugs me. We'll talk about it as the series progresses, and I understand that. I don't know. It's tough from a lot of angles, but nobody, like, at the point of this episode, and he points it out, nobody trusts Buck.
Yeah.
And I just feel so bad for that guy.
With the exception of Katrina, but she doesn't trust him for the right reasons, and she pities him more than anything.
Correct.
Which is worse. Correct. Honestly, yeah. The Odyssey crowd doesn't come out of this looking super great in how they're interacting. Because Connie isn't great with Trask later either.
It's really tough in that, like, I wish there was more benefit of the doubt and compassion for Buck. And like Katrina's doing her best to bring that energy, but it's like he has gone from like, I don't know, just like, okay, here I think is the problem. We have not seen anybody interact with him positively without motive.
Yeah.
Like, essentially, with the exception of, like from the adult characters specifically, is like, everyone is interacting with to him, not like he is a person, but just, like, because they...
He's an idea.
And
he's an idea that's involved with stuff.
Yeah, and it's...
And is hot, if you're Emily. Like,
right. It's... I don't know. It's tough... I feel like I'm having a hard time articulating it.
Well, because it's complex, because they have to be able to do their job and investigate things, and he is obviously involved in bad things, but
right.
But there is a certain sense of these real people that are supposed to be real and be the humanity in the story and not the law enforcement, like, are doing the law enforcement's job and
right. And I wish we had some... I wish Buck had someone who he interacted with human to human a little bit.
I'm little spoiler. I mean, his interaction with Jules is good.
Yeah.
In the episodes that I've heard.
I'm sure he gets there, even from like the Connie Counselor episode that like I listened to for the other show, when you guessed it on AIO Audio News. Like, there's good stuff there, and like I like the way that like he becomes a little bit more of a human. It's just like we have all this time and there's all this plot, and I just wish that, I don't know, I wish that somehow they were able to like eke a little bit more relation. And part of it, I guess, might be intentional to a degree, where it's like Buck is always looking out for himself, always deceiving. Like he was sent into every one of these interactions with his own motives. And so that kind of forces everyone to have motives against him. And so I'm not even saying like it's unintentional or it's poor writing or whatever. It's just a bummer that he doesn't get to talk to anyone. No one treats him like a human being, and he doesn't really treat anyone else like one. Yeah.
Which, thankfully, this isn't the end of his character on the show.
For sure.
And we get more of that later,
for sure.
Which is nice.
Honestly, the person who treats him the most like a person is Skin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. And Skin is genuinely kind to him, even though he's very much also just looking out for himself and doing the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, if we can move on to the next scene.
Yeah.
Connie and
No, wait. It's
Buck comes in.
Buck walks in
and Whit leaves.
Whit leaves. They basically say hi to each other. That's their first meeting, and it's Whit like scurrying out the door, and I'm like, buddy, like, you're supposed to, like, I realize your grandson has been kidnapped. You're also supposed to be like
the manager
Mr.
of the
like,
shop.
Yeah, and like a hands-on, involved, non-delegator kind of manager.
Yeah.
And so it's weird that like you're just kind of like waving at your new employee.
Yeah, you're delegating so you can go play vigilante.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have thoughts on that as well.
I have some strong Whit thoughts in this episode. Including this scene where he tells his employee to get DNA from this other employee.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's a minor.
Comes full circle.
And Eugene offers him a lemonade, which sounds amazing.
I literally stopped at the market and got lemonade. It was fresh squeezed. It was ice cold. Did not hydrate me, but it tasted delicious.
Lemonade has never hydrated anyone. In the
No,
history of
no,
lemonade.
certainly not. And especially that kind, because it's just 90% sugar and like the other 10% is straight lemon juice. And it's so good.
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
good.
Like a nice like Annie Ann's lemonade on a hot day.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. Annie Ann's was great. This was like a small little Mennonite
Yeah,
stand.
for sure. I'm just thinking of like what's like what's my like lemonade kryptonite of like
yeah.
that style, and
Annie
that's the
Ann's
one.
for sure. Chick-fil-A has good lemonade.
Their frozen lemonade though, that's
That
where it's
slaps. Yeah, their frozen lemonade is very good. The
you
tomato
even
pie has great lemonade.
at. Yeah. I was just gonna say, I think this might be our first mention of Chick-fil-A, and I guess now we can call ourselves a Christian podcast.
Yes, we're here. We finally made it. 100+ episodes later, and we've joined the Chick-fil-A club. I have the app on my phone. Daddy Chicken knows where I am at all times.
As he should. Mm-hmm. I believe that's just God.
I think so. I don't know how I feel about calling God Daddy Chicken, though.
Fair. Especially considering what chicken is on this show. So Eugene asks them then to lick a spoon,
Yep. Would you mind licking this spoon to see if it tastes funny?
and then they go on with their tour.
Yeah.
Then we jump to a weird meeting between Trask and Connie, wherein he called her in. I realize they are both adults. Mm-hmm. It's a college situation, whatever. It does feel odd at times here.
Yes.
The dynamic is not my favorite.
No.
Because there's some power, like, I don't know.
Well, so
There's a weird imbalance of power.
Yes. So Connie is there to talk about Trask finds out that Penny talked to Connie about the meeting, and so he invited Connie to talk about the fact that she knows about the meeting.
Yeah. And we can track this through episodes going forward, but I'm going to propose a thought that is, I think Trask is the anti-wit.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, something close, at least in this arc, I would say. I don't know.
Like,
he doesn't continue past this.
No. No. I feel like that's kind of his vibe at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's what the show's setting him up to be.
And kind of the ties that bind vibe too, where it's like we have this direct confrontation of one person representing a certain set of values, and then we have the existing characters and cast that have their values. And if it's different, it's wrong.
See, I haven't listened to enough Ties That Bind to know.
I've only listened to like 3 episodes because
So many.
I know, because I wanted it to get better, but it doesn't. No, it makes me sad.
Also, isn't this kind of what Truth Chronicles is too?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Those are not episodes I've heard.
Those are yeah.
They
So
didn't
it
air
all
on the
centers
radio,
about the
but
idea of
it's
absolute truth,
right?
Infallible. Yeah. So I have something to say about that. So Penny's premature about talking about the campus group.
Yeah, my church group is exclusive, and like you can't just come to it. However, at the end of this meeting, I will tell you to come to it.
Yeah.
Despite you not giving me any ground at all,
And also not like acting that interested in it.
No.
Not at all. She's very, very skeptical.
but I had to pull you here before my class.
Yes.
To establish this.
That we both understand this.
Yes.
And so I can present my very clearly horrible ideology about, loving yourself and other people.
It's like an art class about God.
That sounds delightful. So anyway, Trask describes it as like-minded people of faith seeking God together. He's super vague about this meeting and the collection of what it looks like. But I wanted to call it out because there is a very real Christian thing called Visio Divinia, which is it's the fancy word for seeing with the eyes of Christ and praying through what you are witnessing and how you're witnessing. So, in prayer, in that it's a formative practice that makes us more like Christ, right? So the way that you look at things and the way that you understand the world around you, if you're intentional about it, can be Visio Divinia, and that would be something like going out into the wilderness and looking at the dirt or the landscape or taking a picture of an ice cream cone or a painting.
Or a million Instagram captions of sunsets.
Yes, exactly.
That have Bible verses.
Yes, you're not exempt, Focus, all right?
Right. This is exactly what I was going to say, is that it's not like some like bizarre radical whatever.
Yeah.
Like, on a base level, like, this is extremely mainstream.
Yes, yeah. Dedicated in finding the beauty of God in nature and ourselves, to see our true potential. And Connie...
Someone else had, like, a couple episode arc about true potential. Oh, right. Frickin' Maury.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Your true potential. Classic Odyssey. But also, like, I don't think that it's bad or unhealthy to, especially if it's informed by, Christian faith, to imagine yourself in a way that is, like, the most true to who you are, because everybody's different. We're all different people with different life experiences and everything like that. There's a certain amount of, phenomenological relationship there. Like, nobody else has your experience because they're not you. So how is that a bad thing if we're made in the image of Christ and, like, thinking about it that way?
Yeah. Well, and to her point, Connie makes a comment here where she's like, I think that this all sounds really good intellectually.
Yes.
It just seems to be missing that personal element for me. And I was like, okay, I appreciate that we're not just going like, oh yes, all of this stuff is bad, because I'm like, no, like, I agree with you, Connie. Like, I don't think I wouldn't, like, nothing he has said up until that point. There's a couple of things that kind of make me, like, cringe, but nothing that makes me go like, oh, this guy is a heretic.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, and he's giving a very soft elevator pitch for something that I feel like is genuinely very biblical if you just focus in on certain aspects of it. Connie then brings up the Bible, talking about your true potential, like morals and things like that. Connie brings up the Bible, and he kind of goes off that saying, the poetry and the stories, it's pure revelation, which with sinister music behind it and everything like
sinister
that.
music, like, it's a choice.
It's so overt and so, like, shove it down your throat. I don't understand how this is supposed to be bad thing, because that's what the Bible is. It has poems in it. Yeah. There's lots of poems. I won't say most of it, but a lot of prophecy and a lot of, if you think about the prayers, often take the forms of poems.
Freaking Psalms.
Psalms is a good portion of the Bible. Prophecy, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that this is wrong.
Yeah, it is, and it's a weird thing too, where, like, Connie isn't necessarily even reacting negatively.
No, because it seems like she's bracing herself to clap back, but isn't, like, getting anything yet.
Yes. But it is a weird thing where it's like, if you remove the music, I don't think this scene has, like, any substance.
No.
From, like, the opposing side.
Exactly.
But yeah, there are the weird, like, Trask does say, there's a beautiful side of you, Connie.
Yeah, that we haven't explored yet. And I'm like, okay, that's...
Yep, that feels like a red flag, folks.
Yep.
If anyone ever says that to you, who is older than you and has you alone in their office, get out of that situation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that Trask definitely acts like a cult leader.
Right. This is the problem.
His beliefs aren't terrible, but he is a cult leader.
Yes.
We've got closed doors, assembly down, people aren't supporting it.
Right. Structurally, this is a cult.
Yep.
Ideologically, at this point, the jury's out.
Yeah.
I think Connie hits the nail on its head, where I'm like, okay, if this is, like, the whole thing, like, all right, maybe not. But if this is, like, a component of your faith, I don't think it's a bad component.
No, certainly not. Well, and I mean, I feel the same way about the Bible in the sense that, like, the Bible is very important and it's a very valuable book that's, you know, even references itself. But I think that there's a certain amount of, like, well, you know, I mean, from personal experience, the evangelical attitude that I've witnessed is a lot of, like, well, we just read the Bible how it's written and therefore we're right because the Bible's right? And, that is good and valuable, and it's important to value the Bible and everything that is in it and everything that we can learn from it. However, we aren't called to worship the Bible, and it's not to be deified. You know, it is important, and obviously there's a lot of good teaching in it. But, like, the Bible is not God. God is God, as revealed in Christ, referenced to by the Bible.
Yeah. Just peeling back the curtain a little bit for the audience, I probably, like, between me, this is maybe a little bit of a disagreement between me and Andrew as far as, like, how much emphasis we're going to put on the Bible.
Well, no, yeah, of course.
But that's, like, we're still friends. We still do this podcast every freaking week.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
and that's always been the case.
Right. Like,
because we don't respond in the way that Connie does, where it's just like, wait a minute. You've got to make me bad so I can be justified in being mad, but I'm ready to be mad.
Exactly. It's that, like, trying to find that balance where it's like, okay, I want to nod along and, like, affirm the things you're saying, but also be like, but my opinions do slightly differ. It's not like, it's that threading the needle between, like, implicit, like, endorsement and being a decent person who's not, like, starting a fight.
Well, yeah, and, like, good God, do you think that my tiny pea brain has figured out God? Or, like, the purpose of the Bible and whatever? Like, good God. I think that kind of moral absolutism is bad. And, like, I just feel like we're all throwing pencils at the ceiling. And my pencil looks a little bit different than other people's. Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I don't disagree with anything. Yeah. Any one thing, but, like, on a whole, we maybe have a slightly different view, and that's cool
because we love each other no matter what.
Oh, look at that! We have a sweet moment on the pod.
2.5 years in, we are essentially one person.
Then Eugene, like, shoves lemonade down Buck's throat.
Yes, essentially intubates him and dumps it down his throat.
Just lemonade boarding.
Yeah, he's just like, drink the lemonade. Just drink the lemonade. Like, you should try it. It's the lemonade. It's lemons.
It's a good comic scene.
It's hilarious.
It's really, really funny.
It's got me in a sweat. Good gracious.
Of, like, yeah, Buck and Eugene, like, going back and forth, and Eugene's like, all right, we're done. Drink the lemonade. Buck's like, can I see in the basement? He's like, no, drink the lemonade. Oh, but I'd really like to go down there. It might be my phone. Drink the lemonade. Matthew walks in, confronts Buck. So now there's 3 people going at it here.
Drink the lemonade.
And then he finally, to resolve the thing with Matthew goes downstairs. Eugene grabs Buck a straw, and then Katrina walks in
and distracts him from drinking it. And can you hear him pulling the straw out of the wrapper? Because I listened to it twice, and it sounds kind of like you can, which love that.
The ice in the cup. Oh, it's all so good. But, like, I love the dynamic of Katrina coming in, because it then, like, puts this weird tension on, like, the whole Eugene Katrina thing for obvious reasons. Like, they're a married couple. They're not on the same page in this instance. They've got different motivations, and neither of them can really be clear. But also, Katrina is such a dominant force in a way that Eugene is not.
Yeah.
And in a way that I absolutely adore the show for, like, doing. And so, like, I like that she's just, like, firm and pushy, and Eugene ends up giving up his ground because, like,
he's like, whatever.
You can't mess with Katrina.
Yeah. Katrina gets what he's like, but can't he have some lemonade first? It's so cute. I mean, it's a great, it's well written. It culminates well. And honestly,
and then the beautiful punchline of Katrina's like, get that toothpick out of here. And Eugene's like,
I'll take
it.
Please put it in this napkin. And then Buck and Katrina leaves, and he puts it in a Ziploc bag in front of Matthew.
Yep. And you can hear the Ziploc bag.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that.
Or a plastic bag. You can hear, like, the crinkling of the plastic. It's freaking delightful. It's just like classic, like, comedy of errors. Like,
anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
And like, such, like,
Hooray for finding your phone. Lemonade.
such like generally low stakes.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's lovely.
Well, and it's really funny because Matthew then makes comments on it afterwards because he's like, what are you going to do? Like, bronze it? Like, what are you doing, you crazy person? Like,
Yeah, he's like, I'm keeping it as a memento.
yeah.
And then we get.
And then tells him he's calling the cops.
Yep. He's like, I got to call Pole House. And Matthew's like, Pole House? So we jump to the call with Pole House. And this is where he sends Martin to go to Whitsend to pick up the sample. And then he calls Whit. Explains that like he's still at the Haggler's. The printing presses were the ones used to print the money, or like they had the right stuff, whatever. And
The paper, Fiber Touch 52 or whatever.
And then that and reveals also that Wally is not involved. He then he then continues to talk about Wally and about the gated community that Skint lived in, which I just wrote down, presumably the same one that Erica Colburn lived in.
Yes, 100%.
I know
Odyssey
that place
only has
has
one
a
gated
name,
community.
but like, right.
It's one. It lives on the outskirts of town, kind of,
Yeah, we get the street name for some reason, but I
very
didn't write
close
it down.
to a elementary school. Probably not Odyssey Elementary, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
Well, I just wanted to touch on it. This whole scene is really great the way that it's cut because it starts with Eugene saying that he's going to call Pole House.
No, we called Pole House. Hear those sirens, Chalk Squad? He's coming for us.
Oh no, he knows about my lemonade.
Is it
I paid
peppermint
them.
lemonade?
Oh, have you had peppermint lemonade? We've had this conversation before.
On mic, too, no.
Oh, it was the Popsicle Kid.
Popsicle Kid.
Wooten makes
Yep.
peppermint lemonade. Thank goodness I didn't forget that.
Thank goodness. Popsicle Cabrera!
What's the line after that?
The weirdest kid in
the
town.
weirdest kid. I wanted to say the nerdiest kid.
Nope.
Anyway, what I was saying was Eugene
so
says he's going to call Pole House,
Yep.
and then it jumps to the perspective of Pole House.
Right,
and
we
then he
hear
talks
Whit
on
in
phone
the
with
background,
Whit, and then, it
we
jumps to Whit.
transition through the phone to Whit, and then we hear Pole House on Whit's end. It's great.
Yeah,
I
it's
love it so
nice.
much. I just like that so much as a thing that Odyssey does. It's fantastic.
Well, and it's been I don't know if they do that a lot, but they don't do that many back to back, and so it just felt really cool and gave it a cool sense of like motion but also like continuing the plot.
Yeah. Whit's staking out this place, kind of tells Pole House that, like, oh yeah, I got a lead that Monty might be there, because he's not telling him about the tracking stuff. And then Whit's like, oh, someone pulled in. It's Agent Tanner. And Pole House is like, dude, do not go in there alone. Like, hold your ground. I'll get over there. And Whit's like, I can't promise that. And closes his flip phone, because the year is 2011 and John Avery Whitaker uses a flip phone.
Yes, he does.
What else would he use?
I mean, he only has the flip phone, and he definitely has the belt clip for it. I mean, how are you gonna make ice cream if that's just jangling around in your pocket?
It's
gotta
true.
Be secured.
Yep. And yeah, he doesn't, because if he had a cell phone, that would be too close to him having a television. And
Yeah. Well,
Whit can't have a TV. He's a TV junkie.
Yeah. Wait, is that established that he just watches a ton of television?
Yeah, he talks about it in like an early episode where he's like, I no longer have a TV at my house because I was a TV junkie. He uses that exact phrase.
Drugs.
Right.
Did you know that watching something is drugs?
Yes. So is sugar. And so he...
No promises. Oh, so this is when we jump to Katrina and Buck.
Yep.
Katrina's talking to Buck about, confronts him about lying on the address. Buck gives this whole fake story about, like, being embarrassed because they live in a really poor place, and so they wrote down a fake address. And so Katrina's asking for the original address, and Buck doesn't respond very well, considering he's a hardened criminal. But he's like, well, I need to ask Skint first because I have to respect his privacy. He's a private
like,
man.
what is your relationship? He's like a father. She's like, what does that mean?
Yeah, he's like a father to me. What does that mean? I just want to get this over with. I'm going to step outside and call him.
Yeah.
So he steps outside and calls Skint, which is the next scene we get.
Yeah, Skint tells him to get the appleberry from the basement, and have Katrina give him a call. He won't pick up. That'll buy some time.
Yeah. This is when Skint says, this entire empire is getting wobbly. We need this phone for, insurance purposes, you know.
So yeah, this is I was going to say, this is very much turning into, like, that phone was there for Skint to protect himself. It's now, or it was there for Dirk to protect himself. Skint's like, it's no longer about, like, me worried about Dirk using this. It's now, I want this power.
Yeah. Well, we're going to need to cover our own butts because things are happening.
Yeah. And then he goes, he has a little thing where he's like, man, all the people in this town are so distrusting. It makes it really hard to, like, deceive
For
them.
an honest criminal to make its living.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, why is everybody getting involved? Which I don't know why. I mean, Wit is regularly disobeying law enforcement, which
Yeah, it's a
thank
problem.
goodness he's white and doesn't cause any issues.
And God.
Yeah, that is also helpful.
We go to Penny and Connie in class now.
They're having a conversation, presumably after their meeting with Trask.
So after Connie's meeting with Trask, this is during the class. They're sitting in the back of the class talking, and you hear Trask in the background teaching.
Love it.
And they go back and forth, and Connie's kind of accusing Penny of liking Wooten, and she admits it. And then Connie's like, man, I don't want to feel like a third wheel. And Penny's like, you're not a third wheel. And then Trask's like, ladies, do anything you'd like to share with the class? Like, just like,
anything you'd like to add to the group?
You hear the rest of the people giggle. Yeah. And then he goes back to teaching, and they go right back to it. And this is where Penny's amazing analogy, where she's like, "You're not a third wheel. You're more like training wheels," which is what I want to be in all of my friends' relationships. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Just be there to get them established, and then slowly fade away and give them a shove.
Yep,
so that they can ride off on their own.
I mean, you're still getting used either way. Don't get me wrong. However, it's much more fulfilling to be a training wheel than a third wheel. Granted, if you're comfortable being with people that are in a couple, being a third wheel isn't that bad. It gets a bad rap.
It does. It depends on the couple.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I'll go hang out with my married friends any day of the week.
Yeah.
They've got it figured out.
Yeah.
However, other people who are currently like in relationships, especially early, I mean, the younger they are, the earlier, the newer the relationship is, the worse that experience can be.
It's miserable pretty much every time. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And I have third wheeled with Andrew in circumstances where I did not like it.
Sorry about that.
And there were like fourth, fifth, and sixth wheels there as well, and it was still uncomfortable.
You talking about D&D?
Mostly.
Sorry about that. That was an interesting time in my life. Yeah. That was a thing. Anywho.
They do agree then on to do something after class, which is to go hiking, which is, I mean, it's the perfect thing to do, right?
It's a great time. You walk all the time. Why not walk someplace else? Make it interesting. Throw some rocks in there.
Yep.
Rewards
God's
nice
beautiful
views.
creation.
Yeah, great.
Take a good sunset picture from the top of the tower. Post it with a biblical
Yeah, oh yeah.
thing. You know, you're set.
Make sure that you are truly being a Proverbs 31
Bring
woman.
some hammocks, maybe a boom box, a
Yes.
Polaroid camera,
Yes.
you know, all the things.
Sharpies, make sure you write your name on something. That's very, very important. If you don't have a Sharpie, you can always key a tree. They actually like it. I can't keep going with that.
Fair enough.
Don't actually key trees. It is bad for them. The Boy Scout in me is making me be honest here.
Yeah. So then Wit confronts Tanner?
Yeah, he just busts into this random building because of course, and is like, where's Monty? I tracked him here because of the, the blip in his arm. And Tanner doesn't really address that.
Nope.
But
God, she knows that.
Yeah, Monty's gone again. So she doesn't even know that.
Well, and she's like, no, I had to kidnap him from the carnival so that I could prove to them that I'd be willing to do it.
Yeah.
She's like playing this whole like triple agent kind of thing, but she's saying it like so like forcefully with like this. It's just such a good performance because
She talks like she's annoyed that Wit is still involved, I would say.
She's annoyed that Wit's involved, but you can also hear in the vocal performance that she is like covering things up to some extent, or that she's being forceful with the intention to like not let him in. Like it's like going above and beyond like I'm a blunt like secret agent to like I am intentionally like keeping you in the dark by like playing this part. It's I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's good.
Yeah.
It
almost feels out of place in the show.
yeah. I don't know why Diane Shu is this good, but like
and then she's immediately kicked out of the room when
really
the stiletto
works for me.
shows up.
Yep.
She's dragged out, seemingly kicking and screaming, like, I'm in on this, blah, 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 blah. Stiletto comes in with, aforementioned beard and and sunglasses and hat. Cheesy Italian mobster accent.
But a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it does carry over pretty well.
And then we jump back to Wit's End.
Yep. Katrina and Eugene are talking, and then Buck comes in after being on the phone.
He asks for
and Katrina
lemonade.
runs away to go call Skint.
Yep. Then he asks for lemonade. Eugene's like, oh no, I don't need that
That
anymore.
Yeah. Which I was like,
good.
you just blew your cover like 8 times.
Oh, and then the hero of every episode,
Jay
Smouse walks in. Like, I'm at the point now, I was listening to this on the drive home my second time, just going like,
Jay is my favorite character.
do we just like cherry pick a bunch of Jay episodes?
Maybe. I don't hate
Like,
that idea.
I mean, like,
if we're gonna listen to more new Odyssey, I think that's the
Like,
only stuff I'd find.
this past year for Blank Check, April was May. Next year, do we make April J?
Ooh, I do like that. I do like that a lot. It's a great idea. But we have to wait so long.
I know. We could also do, January.
January. That's nice. We can. I mean, how many episodes do you think there?
I don't know. We'll
Four
come
is
up
a
with
good
something.
amount, though.
I feel like we could find some.
Yeah,
some
January.
I mean, we could coordinate it with Groundhog Day because there is a Groundhog Day episode.
February. Nope, that's just a different name. Anyway,
Tuesdays with Wooten.
is that an episode name?
Tuesdays with Wooten is an episode
Yeah,
name.
that's what I say. Tuesdays. 2 J's sitting on a window.
So Jay storms in and he starts accusing Buck of framing Wally, and
I mean, he tells what actually happened.
I know.
He's 100% right.
He's great. He Eugene's like, Jay, maybe you should sit down. The only one sitting down here is him when they drop him in the electric chair for being a counterfeiter.
Yeah, and Eugene's like, they don't put counterfeiters in the electric chair.
Well, they should be made to sit in some sort of chair in a corner for like a really long time.
It's amazing. It's so funny because he calls him out. He spills the beans on everything he's done.
Yeah.
He knows about the fake address. He knows about the printing equipment.
And then he's like, go ahead and deny it. And Buck's like, all right,
I deny it. And then Buck pulls classic male manipulator and goes, I'm tired of being accused. I'm going to take my phone now. And leaves.
Yep. Goes down to the basement to get.
Yep. And then
phone
Eugene
from-
follows him and leaves Jay to watch the counter, in which he is left to feast.
Watch the counter. Ooh, cool. Free ice cream for the counter watcher.
Yeah. So good. Right?
He's the best.
This episode would not be nearly as good without Jay.
No. The combination of like Jay and the stiletto plus that comedy scene earlier, I think, is what does it. And some good engineering and Diane Shu and like it's a good one.
It's a good one.
I like it all around. Freaking and then we jump back to the stiletto, who's like, all right, clear the room, everyone. I need to talk to this guy by
Get
himself.
rid of the gun.
It just like goes above and beyond to establish like how like serious a player the Stiletto is, which they've been building for a while in like the way everyone talks about him. But like he gets no questions from any of the goons. They just clear the room, and then Wit's like immediately like,
so when are you going to take off the disguise? He goes, well, the beard doesn't come off. I can do better. The beard doesn't come off without a razor, but the sunglasses and the hat. I don't know anything after that.
I mean, that's basically
yeah. And then he takes it off, and his
then
voice slowly changes out of it, which is so fun.
Great performance by Townsend Coleman, just like killing it with that transition. And here's the only criticism I have about this scene, which is Odyssey still cannot figure out how to do character reveals.
No.
We've pointed this out like a dozen times.
Yeah.
And this feels like the perfect one where it's just like he comes out of it. Like, so he does the whole like, you know, the beard with the razor, the hat and sunglasses, his voice changes, and then Wit says and so the voice changes, you're immediately like, oh, it's Jason. Wit says, that's much better. It's good to see you again. And he just leaves it hanging. If he had said Jason, perfect, they nailed it. Instead, he doesn't. And then Stone's like, oh, that's disappointing. You know, it would be great to get my disguise right. And Wit's like, well, you're my son. But still doesn't like quite say it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, though I never would have expected the infamous Stiletto was really Jason Whittaker. And it's like, yeah, we know it.
We already...
You timed it wrong.
You could have said it like 20 seconds ago.
I truly think this is like McCusker's fatal flaw as a writer, is he just can't pull off the character reveal.
Yeah. Well, and they did a decent job with it, I felt like, in the... Well, I guess it wasn't McCusker, but in the Blackguard series with all the phone calls about him coming to town before he came to town. Yeah. I think if they had done something like that here, it would have been
like, and I think,
little bit more grand.
I truly think all it needed was... Yeah, so, right, there's two factors to it, which is, one, it would have been fun if they if we had heard the Stiletto previous episodes, because I would never have heard that performance and gone, oh, that's Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
Even, I probably would have, obviously, if I hadn't known the twist, even gone like, oh, they got Townsend Coleman to do that voice, and still not gone, oh, it's Jason.
Exactly.
But then they do, like... Yeah, but they do play the scene really nicely. It's just like they hold off on saying it's Jason so that that's the line they can go out on when it's already been revealed, and it just doesn't really make sense. It's this thing that I think that on paper it works because you're reading it and you're going, oh, he like says it's good to see you again. Like he recognizes this person. He says that he is his son, and you're like, oh, and then like and then says like, oh, you're Jason, and I'm like, that works really well written in a book. However, when it's performed by voice actors who we know intimately, it does, like, the reveal is when you hear the voice, not when the character says the name.
Yes, exactly. It's the kind of lost in translation between the audio medium and everything.
But it's still good. Oh,
yeah, no, it's great. And it doesn't really... I mean, it does take away from this moment, but I still really enjoy the scene, and I think that it's cool. I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about the thing that Odyssey's doing a lot nowadays is they've kind of deified the Whittakers and that they can do pretty much whatever they need them to do. And I didn't realize that it was more than just wit until this. Like, I knew that Jason was kind of a secret agent and whatever, and like he did cool things and he came in and out, and to a certain extent he had some of it, but definitely it seems like now and then from this point moving forward, Jason becomes a second wit in that respect. expected.
Interesting. Because, I think one of the things, and we've talked about it before.
They can do whatever they want with them, and they're always right to do it, essentially.
Sure. We've talked about before, though, even Wit used to be able to fail more, but, especially Jason and Jack, their introduction, they were both so flawed, and that's what was great, is they were, two flawed people who together made, a less flawed one.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it'll be interesting to track with Jason throughout this arc to be does he keep that? But he does. I mean, he gets to be very superhero-y in this. But I don't necessarily know that, at least at this point, from what we've seen, from what I've heard, that I'm oh yes, he is godlike. I'm I mean, he's cool.
Yeah, he's got permission to do a lot of cool things, but because of his character.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, that's all I have. I would like to shout out a new fan of the podcast and nephew of mine, Balin. I forgot to shout him out last time we recorded. I love you, Balin.
I like Balin as well. He just doesn't know me anymore.
Oh, well, I mean, hopefully if he's hearing this, Dylan remembers you, and Dylan likes you too. But it's really cool. Balin is my nephew, and he's getting into Odyssey, and he recognizes Wit, and he's 3, and he can talk about all the characters and stuff. And it's just really cool to see another generation getting into something that I have a lot of appreciation for. Yeah. And also some mixed feelings, but
Yeah. But also, I trust his parents to make good calls about what parts of Odyssey are enforced.
Good calls.
Because they're fans as well.
Mm-hmm. Anything that you'd like to plug, Dylan?
I don't think so.
All right.
I mean, we referenced Southland Tales earlier, so I guess I'm linking it, but it's not really a plug on my end. So that's kind of it.
Wow. I mean, it's not like we didn't have a good episode to talk about.
Oh, for sure. Great episode. Thanks so much for joining us for this one, Shock Squad. And we will be back next week to talk about episode 687, The Green Ring Conspiracy, Part 9.
Bye, guys.
Part 9.
Out of 12.
Bye.
WadFam Chalkpod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. Follow the podcast at WadFam Chalkpod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. The Green Ring Conspiracy Part 8 was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Acebo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the WadFam Chalkpod.